you're new, welcome. Thanks so much for stopping by. I really appreciate you. So today we're going to do like a little wrap up. It's not a whole lot to wrap up. I did 2 other videos of some like small wrap up. I'll link those down below. So here are a few books that didn't make it onto that. So I read J.R. Ward, Lover Unveiled. I absolutely love J.R. Ward's writing. She is great, but this one right here was probably my least favorite book I've read so far. It was still good, but it wasn't like the normal of what I'm used to reading by her, I guess. But this one, it just didn't hold my interest as much. See, the original thing for the Black Dagger Brotherhood was for them to fight, what's some things called? I can't think of the name of. There was these people that they were fighting off against to save their race as well as the human race, and that is all over with the Omega. So for this one, there is a new like spirit type thing, and it's this magic book, and that's what they're fighting. And it didn't quite do it. Even the love story in it wasn't quite as like what I was looking for, but it was still good, and I can't wait to see how the rest of it's gonna pan out, because there are already, I think there's one other one released for the actual Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and then there is another spin-off one that I have on my shelves I just haven't read yet. So like I said, I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite of hers, so I'm hoping the next one is better. And then we had Those Other Women by Nicola Moriarty. I don't know how to say her last name. So there's this one, and this is about Poppy and Annalise, and basically what happens is there's 2 types of people in this book: those who want children, who have children, who like they're sad they can't have children, and then there's those who are like, I like my life, I don't want to add children to the mix. So there's a Facebook group for the moms and soon-to-be moms, etc., of this area that they're in. And the person, Poppy, she does not want to have children. And she also found some people that she works with and she's friends with that they also feel the same way. So what they do is they go ahead and she creates a Facebook for these people who don't want to have children. So then it becomes a feud between the people in the Facebook group of non-children havers versus the ones who want the children. And you get to see how grown adults are fighting between these 2 Facebook groups. It actually, certain things are said or whatever that it becomes like a real life situation, and they meet up for like events or whatever, and both groups are there, and it's kind of like high school drama but elevated. So it was like, I enjoyed reading it because you got to see how much drama was there, but like you didn't have to be personally involved in it. So it was a pretty good read. I definitely enjoyed the drama, but I'm glad I wasn't part of the drama. So that was that one. And then I read Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer, and this was for the TBR books that intimidate me. And this one I picked because, not because of its size, because it's only 600, I think, yeah, 650-ish pages, but it was the fact that this is Twilight, which we all read, majority of us have read in our late teens, mid-teens, early 20s, whatever the case may be. And we all know the story of Twilight. We've all watched the movies, and this is the opposite point of view. And let me tell you, if this would have been a point of view for the entire story series, I think I would have enjoyed it even more. I absolutely love this one. We got to see Edward's side, and it was just the murdery, beautiful, just the inner thoughts of his head. It maybe couldn't have been young adult. I don't even know if this is even classified as that, but some of the stuff I was waiting on to get a little bit more heated, but it kind of stayed a little bit tame, which is fine. But I definitely loved his point of view, what he was thinking, and I would have definitely probably read Twilight a little bit sooner in life, you know, the original set of Twilight, earlier than what I did, if we'd have got his point of view for that. And normally I'm weird about point of view changes, because like with 50 Shades of Grey, I tried to read the opposite and I couldn't do it. So I don't know, maybe I did it too close together and it just wasn't working for me. I don't know. But that one, yes please. And then the other books, I'll pop them up here. And I read Fair Play by Eve Rotsky. This was my Reese Witherspoon pick. And it was a nonfiction, kind of like a self-help type thing. And basically what this one shows you is how can you and your partner, whether it be, you know, live-in boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, whatever the case may be, how can you take what cards you're playing, as in, you know, the woman, if you're the woman in the relationship, for instance, in a typical marriage, you know, your husband's gonna go to work, but you're gonna wake up, get the kids up, get them to school, get breakfast, get lunch, get supper. You're gonna do all of that, plus clean the house, and it's just a whole lot on your plate. So basically, if you read her book, she kind of teaches you how you and your partner can sit down and see what's on the playing field, and you take those cards and he gets so many cards, and you work that for a whole week, and at the end of the week, if everything seems fine, then you continue until a problem snags. But if by the end of the 7 days he's like, hey, you know, I really can't do this card, anyway, you can take this card or trade a card with me, or whatever the case may be, and you just work out balancing the things you have to do on a daily basis or a weekly basis, whatever the case may be. Like maybe your child, if you have a child in a situation, maybe they have sports, so maybe you need to switch the sports card, you know, he takes over driving, or whatever the case may be. So I didn't have a problem with the whole dynamic of how a household runs. Like, that's not why I read it. I read it because it came up as a selection out of the jar thing. But if you are struggling, no matter if it's mentally, physically, whatever the case may be, with your responsibilities in your house, and you feel that your partner can take some of those, maybe sit down, have a talk, read this book and see how she explains it, and it'll help you better explain to your other what they can help you with, what you can work together and accomplish. So overall, it was a really good read. But like I said, there's not anything at this point and in time that I need to hand over, because I can't handle it at this moment. So, pretty good though. And then I read Bewitch by Paige, Mckenzie, and Nancy Olin. And this was a good read, kind of like a little mystery. New girl shows up to school or whatever, and she has like witchy powers, and you have to hide them, and then she figures out that somebody approaches her and they have a coven at school, like, you know, they all go to school together, so she joins their coven. Well, there's a rivalry coven. Things start happening where one member of one of the covens or whatever dies. If you hear that noise, it's my guinea pig running around. So you get to see them kind of like think, oh, they're playing, you know, they did it to our person, or vice versa. So you get to see them kind of come together and work out the mystery of what happened. And I liked it. I did see that there is a second book, so I think I will be picking the second book up for that. And then, what are you doing? Why are you going so crazy? Then I also read The Library of Lost Things by Laura Taylor Namey. And this one was really good too. This is about a girl who, she's a typical teenager. She loves books. And it's her and her mom, I think because her dad left. And her mom has kind of like a hoarding problem, but instead of like hoarding everything, like the empty packages and etc., whatever, she has a shopping obsession, and she will like just get online and buy whatever. And she also works at a beauty store, so she brings home a whole bunch of stuff. And her apartment, the little, you know, her and her mom's apartment is ridiculously packed with containers of stuff, and her mom doesn't want to get rid of anything, and she has like an overwhelming problem whenever you try to get rid of things. And the only rule is you can't put anything in the daughter's room. They went to therapy for it. So that's the rule there. But unfortunately, things kind of make their way there, and there's this big blow up, and finally she kind of is, because like beforehand she was keeping everybody out of her apartment. No friends can come over, none of that. She had one friend specifically that she would let in the apartment because she understood what was going on. Well, the apartment they lived in, they had been having the same person in charge. Well, now somebody bought the building, and you know they want to come in and do all these things. So she's frightened that if they come in there, they're gonna like kick them out because of the hoarding, basically. And so she has to figure ways to help her mom and also not get kicked out of the apartment because of the problem. And then she meets someone, and she wants to have her own life, so she has to figure a way to be able to like have friends to come over, boyfriends, whatever the case may be. So it was the journey was to watch how her and her mom's relationship formed or transformed, because she wanted to have a life with other people outside of the apartment, but be able to bring them back in without, you know, being overwhelmed by them being there. You know, what are they going to think of my mom? What are they going to think of me? So it was an interesting journey, and it makes me think, like, how do, like, a hoarder's child, how do they feel if their parent is a hoarder? Like, what is their relationship, you know, towards their mom or dad? Like, maybe they aren't that type of person where they don't need to keep everything. You know, they have a very tidy room, and that's just what it is. But it's like, how is a real life situation? Because you can't really depend on the show Hoarders, because it's for TV, you know, they exaggerate things. So it was a cool insight to see, but would it really be like that, or is that just how this author portrayed it? So, very, very interesting. And then the last book, last book would be Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. And this was about two children who were put together in grade school to be pen pals. One teacher thought she was matching up with a boy, and the opposite teacher thought they were matching her up with a girl, because their names are Ryan, which is the girl, and Misha, which is the boy. And they paired them together. They quickly found out that they were opposite genders, and they just became friends, but they had a rule. Even though they lived kind of close together, like 10-15 minute drive, I think it was, the rule was no finding each other on social media, no meeting up in person. Like, they wanted to remain pen pals, so that's what they did. And then all of a sudden, one of them stopped writing the other one. So the one who wasn't receiving letters was like, oh my God, what's going on? I need to find this. I need to figure out what's going on. So Misha, the boy, he wound up going to an event, and the girl was there, but he never let on that he was her pen pal, because, you know, they made rules not to do that. So once that happened, things start to change, and then you get to see the way the relationship went from being pen and paper only to now they know what each other looks like in person, and how much further will that go, and are they able to maintain the friendship? So that was a pretty cool dynamic there, and I love Penelope Douglas. I don't really have a problem with any of her books that I've read so far, so I'm just gonna keep on trucking through her list. And then I talked about this in my April TBR video, a smidgen, not much, but the last book on that TBR from March was Misery. That's the guinea pig again. I wound up DNFing this one because the more I read it, the more I just didn't understand it. It was just too many words, and I was talking to my husband about it, and he's like, well, if you're already at this part, then, like, you should be, like, almost the end of the book. And I'm like, nah, bro, I'm not even halfway yet. So after discussing some things with him, I decided just to DNF it and watch the movie. So I need to see if the local library has it, because even on like streaming apps that I have, it was like $15 on one of them, and I'm not paying $15 for a movie to watch it one time, and it's an older movie, so I'm just gonna see if the local library has it, because I'm super excited to watch it because people talk about good things about it all the time. So we shall see. So that was kind of my little wrap up for all of the books that I read in March. Did you ever read any of those? How did you like them? Yeah, so I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.